Hey, Soraya.
Hey, Jeff.
How are you today?
I'm doing all right. You?
I'm doing pretty good. Remember a couple weeks ago, we started this new series where we're going to talk about side projects from guitar players from the Paisley Underground.
Vaguely. I vaguely remember.
Yeah, you've had a nephew, a new addition to the family since then.
Yeah.
A new king
So,
added to the royal court.
uh, uh, yes, a new family member and very, very welcome, sweet baby.
Oh,
So,
congratulations.
yeah. Yeah. Now comes the fun part.
Yeah. Being an auntie, the best.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Both my brothers did a great job on making me an aunt. So,
Nice, nice.
yeah.
So back to the series. So we started with Luis Gutierrez of the 3 o'clock and his band Mary's Danish, and then
Yes.
the guitar player from the Bangles, Vicky Peterson, and her project with Action Skulls.
Yep.
So we got two bands left of the primary bands from Paisley Underground. We have Rain Parade and Dream Syndicate. What are we doing today?
Why not go with Steve Wynn and Gutterball,
Yes.
which also has the amazing Stephen McCarthy in it.
Yes, indeed.
I don't think you can go wrong.
No, no.
So let's get started.
Let's do it.
Hi, this is Soraya.
And this is Jeff,
Our podcast is called Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme.
a podcast where the two of us play music that we like and share anecdotes and background about the tunes.
We hope you'll join our conversation. And without further ado, a grubiar.
Let's get groovy.
I think people should have been tipped off by your t-shirt.
Yes, yes. I actually planned that this time, which I do occasionally. So this T-shirt from Dream Syndicate, These Times album, I think it was like it was a little package that they offered.
Yeah.
When it came out, and it
Also had a sleep mask.
yes, sleep mask.
Yeah, I have it.
I haven't taken mine out of the package. It just sits up on my
Me
record
either.
shelf. But it's pretty darn
stay
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty trippy is what it is.
Yeah. So is the cover. So
Yeah.
So we could have picked several guitar players from the Dream Syndicate. We could have gone with Carl Percoda's side projects, which he's had a few, Paul B. Cutler, Jason Victor. But nope, we went with the one guy who's been with the Dream Syndicate from the beginning, Steve Wynn. And then again, we could have done a couple projects with that too, Danny and Dusty, which we've talked about, baseball projects. But nope, we decided to go with Gutterball, a band that we've mentioned definitely, but we haven't really delved into a whole lot. So I think this is a good opportunity to talk about Gutterball.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say one thing about Gutterball. Pat Thomas, our good buddy and author and musician and producer, liner notes writer,
All around amazing guy.
he mentioned about Gutterball, their debut album, which we're not talking about, is in his top 5 of all Steve Wynn projects. And we know, and Steve Wynn has mentioned this himself, that Pat Thomas is the expert on anything Steve Wynn or Dream Syndicate related.
Absolutely.
And he places their debut album in his top 5 of all Steve Wynn projects, which is saying a lot coming from an expert.
Absolutely. It's a mark of honor. I agree.
Yeah. So let's talk about who's in.
So let's talk about a different album.
Yeah, right. After that, so the band put out 2 albums. Their self-titled album Gutterball, which was released on Mute Records in Germany and in the US on CD, only in vinyl in Germany. They didn't release the vinyl in the States. And their second album came out in 95, Weasel. And Weasel is the album that we're going to talk about today. Their second and last album. There was another album that was a kind of a compilation of sorts and pulled tracks from each. But Weasel was released in 1995 on Breakout Records, a German label. So
Okay, Jeff. So I'm going to ask the question that people listening are asking themselves. Why Weasel and not the debut?
That's a great question. I mean, we could have easily gone with the debut, which is a great album, and as Pat mentioned, but when I was listening to it, there was a few standout tracks that I definitely wanted to highlight. So both are great and have great tunes on them, but we could have easily picked the debut.
Yeah. I mean, always fun to bring something different to the table.
Yeah. And it's got the cutest cover with the cutest little puppy dog. I wonder if that was Weasel. His name was Weasel. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know where the
That's
title
a question
came.
we get to write down and ask either Steve Wynn or one day another unicorn, Stephen McCarthy.
Yes. Yep. So that's a great lead. And so you had already mentioned that band members. I've got my psychedelic country soul album here. So Gutterball also features Stephen McCarthy, and then a couple of members from a band called House of Freaks. So I have a couple of their albums here. So what are their names? Brian Harvey and Johnny Hott, Hott. So they also joined. Not House of Pain, Soraya, House of Freaks. So keep your shoes on and don't jump around. This is House of Freaks. So, and on their debut album, Bob Roop is their bass player. So I know him from Cracker, the band Cracker. Mm-hmm. But in between the debut release and Weasel, they were joined by another bass player. So on Weasel, the bass player's name is Armistead Wellford. And I don't know if you've heard of the band Love Tractor from Athens, Georgia, mostly an instrumental band who I love. He joins Gutterball for this album, Weasel. So pretty cool. Had some pretty cool bass players and almost like a super group, I'd say Gutterball was.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we should jump into some music.
I think so. Okay, Jeff. Now, if I were a betting person, I'd say either Jeff or Soraya took the lead off track, because that's kind of been our trend.
Yeah, yep, I would say.
Am I right?
You are definitely right.
It wasn't me.
By process of elimination. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely wanted to start off with the lead off track, which to me could have very well appeared on maybe a Danny and Dusty record.
I could see it. I could see it.
Maybe not quite as bar bandish as you might get from a Danny and Dusty track with that kind of feel. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but yeah, I just thought it was a great way to start the album, and I really, really love the tune. So let's go ahead and listen to it, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So this is Transparency, the lead-off track from Weasel by Gutterball.
Young, I was frequently bored. I didn't know what I wanted, but I transparency.
So there's 3 different guitar players on this, so I'm not sure who's playing what between the 3 of these guys: Brian Harvey, Steve McCarthy, and Steve Wynn. Of course, Steve sounds great, but I was saying it could almost be like a Dream Syndicate song, but if Carl Percoda was playing, it'd be slightly different. But that kind of riff, that but this song was written by Steve and Brian, which most of the songs are. But I was reading something about how this project started off, and the 2 of them had a writing session. What was it, like in early 90s? And I read that Steve had a vacation in Virginia, and Brian and Steve got together for a writing session, and they wrote most of these songs, and that's how Gutterball started. And they actually did some shows, and I think it was like by their 5th show, they were signed to was it Elektra? Oh, yep, Elektra Records. And Mute was kind of had some kind of connection with Elektra. So 5 shows in, and they've got a record contract, and they toured with Black Crowes. And we learned, we learned on our episode with Emil about the upcoming Dream Syndicate documentary, what a big fan Chris Robinson from Black Crowes was. So pretty cool that they got to play opening for Black Crowes. So
definitely full circle.
Just wanted to throw that out there, but I don't have a lot of things to talk about for Transparency, but it's the lead off track, and I just think it's a great way to start this album, Weasel.
Yeah, and I think this is what's interesting to me about, as you were kind of mentioning some of the various Steve Wynn projects. There's one thread, obviously it's Steve, there's one thread that kind of connects them all, but they all have a very distinct sound. And I think that's what's different about Gutterball. And I thought your observation that this lead off track could have easily appeared either on a Dream Syndicate, a Danny and Dusty album, is because there's a different vibe to this band. And just when you think you know where this is going to go, because that first track is so beautifully guitar heavy, and it's got this driving rhythm, bum 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 bum, but yeah. Then you get my first pick, and my pick is Sugar Fix.
Yes,
and it's I'll speak soon. It's a completely different vibe than Transparency. So just when you think you know where Gutterball is going, they go, how about this? My pick, Sugar Fix.
Drawn like a
thing, that mini freak out of the end. It's like, whee!
I love it.
Excellent. These are the moments that I love, is when it's this unexpected but complete and total burst of just amazingness, right? So it's loud, driving, the guitars are just everywhere, like, the dun, 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 grinding the guitars, and that drum, right? So it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like your heartbeat, right? Like pop, pop. It's a gut punch, this song. But my favorite part, you tell me, I think it's a bridge. It could be lyrics. I don't know. It's this condescending, computating, complicating, convalescing, congregating, conjugating, contemplating, consummating, waiting. Oh! And watch, the next time we talk to Steve Wynn, I want to know, was this song done in one take? Because I'll bet dollars to donuts this guy tells us, oh yeah, that was one take. Yeah, we just started playing it and going. And I'm like, I couldn't even get through that in one breath.
Yeah.
But again, it's like a boom, 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 waiting for sugar fix. Ah, brilliant. Love this song.
Yes. And what is this sugar fix? Licorice, I'm hoping.
Hey man, it can be whatever you want.
Hey, we just passed Halloween, so we've got buckets of sugar downstairs.
Oh, God. But yeah, this song is fantastic.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah, I love the lyrics, but man, these guitars on this are just sick. And then when you think, look at how many people are playing guitars on this. Well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course it's gonna be like in my brain, tumbling through. Fantastic.
Absolutely. I definitely hear a little bit of Velvet Underground in this song.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good tie into my track. So my second pick is the second song on this album, Your Best Friend. And to me, this definitely has a Velvet Underground feel to it. I don't know if you've seen the new Velvet Underground documentary that's on
Apple. My list.
I think it's Apple is where that can be found, which is a great documentary, by the way. And just as a side note, they mentioned the term Dream Syndicate a couple times in not the band, but the term, in the documentary, referring to John Cale and some projects that he was doing. So I had to giggle when that came up. So I definitely hear Velvet Underground, and a little bit in your pick, but definitely more so in mine, Your Best Friend. I'm really curious about the production of this song, Your Best Friend. To me, it has more of a lo-fi quality to it, more so than the rest of the album, and it stands out to me. I would say that it's not as sharp, the production quality, especially with the drums. So I don't know if they were going for a specific sound with Your Best Friend on the drums, or if it was intentional, or if it was a totally different session altogether. But I think in and of itself, the production is fine. It's just different. So when we listen to this, keep note of that, of the production style. It sounds, I want to say, more lo-fi, more of a muffy kind of sound. I'm guessing it was probably intentional. But anyways, I thought it was interesting. And as we previously mentioned, Brian and Steve do a lion's share of the writing songs on this album. Stephen McCarthy is a co-writer for this song. So curious what he came in with. If was music or lyrics. I don't know, but I'm curious about that. But anyway, so we're going to play Your Best Friend and listen to the production and let me know what you think afterwards about how it stands up compared to the rest of it.
She was wearing your clothes.
solo, chorus. I love that. I don't know if that was meant to be left in there or the just notes that Steve was yelling out. Just so it almost sounds like you said, it could be like a single take kind of thing, and just has that definite live feel to it. But to me, those drums, they definitely have a like a muffled kind of sound to it. But
Yeah.
so when I mentioned Velvet Underground, definitely I could hear like Lou Reed singing those verses when it gets to that minor chord or whatever, that dissonant part, probably not so much. But anyways, I really love the tune, and it's got some
Excellent.
energy behind it for sure. But I can
A ton.
yeah, I could see some crazy lights going on at the factory, and Andy Warhol over there in the corner, just checking these guys out. But anyways,
That's a song that probably gets elevated 1,000 times live.
can you imagine seeing that?
Yeah, I can. Here's the thing, I can.
Yeah, opening up for Black Crowes.
So, I was about to just curse, but to dial it down.
All right.
Oh, what a great song. Okay, so for those of you keeping track, Jeff covered tracks 1 and 2. My first pick was further down, track 7, and now I'm going to track 11 in the song Angeline. We'll talk about it after here. Angeline.
She said she was from New York City.
Great tune. I'm so glad you picked that one. Steve sounds a little different singing this song.
Maybe because it's Stephen McCarthy. But anyways, sorry about that.
No worries.
Things that I think are turned off are not.
Yeah.
I'm frantic. Anyways, all I was gonna say, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the one track on the album solely with a singular writing credit for Stephen McCarthy.
Yes, I think you're right.
Right.
Yep.
That you and I have talked before about how great Stephen McCarthy's voice is when he sings lead. We've talked about it before.
Yes.
I find his voice to just be really melodic, and it's such a strong vocal. And when this song comes up, you sit and you listen because you're a Stephen McCarthy. This is another really good song, great writing. And I want to just point out this piece of the song. She had a face just like an angel, but really, Jesus only knows what's going on behind those devil eyes, because what she's hiding won't show. Oh, good, because that's like a cold-hearted woman. But great writing. And it's just this very melodic, mellow song. So, we really see a lot from the band on this album. We see a lot of different influences and styles. And this song really fits with Stephen McCarthy's voice. It's very appropriate. And I'm going to use a word here, and I'm probably wrong, so forgive me, all you musicians, but the guitars to me feel big here. I don't know. There's something about these guitars that just, like, they continue to resonate throughout. So it's like this really interesting backdrop of these guitars, and just very rhythmic.
Yeah.
I love this song. I think it's written super well, very well. And I really like the arrangement on this. And it's a cool vibey song.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it definitely has a different vibe than the other songs that we've listened to today. So I think we did well in presenting aspects of this album, different aspects of this album. But I'm really glad you picked that track, because it's a great track. And I did reach out to Steve a little bit about Gutterball, and he didn't say that there was a box set coming, but he did say he wishes that there would be a Gutterball box set where everything that they recorded as a group would be in one set altogether. So that's not saying that there is one coming, but he did say that he would hope that could happen. So me too. Yeah, I'm on board with that.
I'm in.
Oh, and one thing I did want to mention about this whole Gutterball project, in between the first and second album, I believe, is when Steve moved to New York, or about this whole time Steve moved from LA to New York. And in between, he did record one of his solo albums. Which one was it? His Melting in the Dark solo album. He recorded that in between Gutterball, the album, and Weasel. So very, very prolific guy. He always has been. So yeah, so this was about the time that Steve moved to New York and made a big change from West Coast to East Coast.
Amazing.
Yeah, so definitely a big part of the Steve Wynn musical history. And for those of you who haven't dug into Gutterball, I definitely recommend that you do. And whether you start with Weasel, which is what we picked, or Pat Thomas is one of Steve Wynn's best 5 projects with the debut, you can't go wrong with Gutterball.
Not at all.
All right, so that leaves Rain Parade. So there's a few guitar players in the band that we could talk about some of their side projects, but we'll see what we go with next week.
Let's see if our listeners can figure out where we're going to go.
Yeah. So your biggest hint is Rain Parade. So
there you go.
Yeah. So
and this person plays guitar.
Yeah. Yep.
Good luck.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So then, mi gente, agrubiar.
Groove on, Paisley people.
Can you just mark the time, make a note of the time? I hope you didn't hear it, but if you did, I just want you to mark the time.
Okay.
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 So let's go back.